Let's move on to some of the technologies we're working with. Mobile. Tell me a little bit more about the way people are using and utilising mobile.
So mobile is a really interesting area because if you looked at some very simple research on browser access, in 2012, roughly 12% of browser access was through mobile devices. Today, it's standing at 33%. And 2 years from now, it's going to pass the 50% level. So what is that saying? If you are involved in a community where people are using different devices, you need to make the experience from the mobile device, whether it's a tablet or a smartphone, very good, because people are using that more frequently. And that brings you to the point of access. I've got a lot of my business applications now, which were designed for the desktop environment, and they're now having to be redesigned so that good access can be available from mobile devices. And we're still in a transition on that. We're still making progress in that area. By the way, the same is true for cloud applications. Many cloud applications, first generation cloud applications, were not optimized for the mobile world. And I think now, you've got not only mobile, you've got multi-platform mobile. So immediately an organization has to worry about what mobile platform are we going to support, how are we going to deal with security, how are we going to deal with the increasing bring your own device to work, how are we going to deal with managing mobiles when we've got a whole series of apps to deal with as well. So we're getting into a very complex world here, but we can't run away from that and say mobile is not the way, because look at the trend. Mobile is the way.
Let's look at one of the other technologies that we all seem to be coming face to face with, and that's self-service. How do you see that growing and developing and changing the way we work?
I think self-service can be looked at in two ways. You can either see it as a way of transferring work from myself to Brian, because rather than worrying about getting all the details to you by email and other means, I'm saying it's online, it's available through a self-service portal on a self-service device. Go get it. So that's one aspect. But the other aspect is actually the positive aspect, which says that needs are changing dynamically. For example, for meetings, finding colleagues in an organization if you're working flexibly, finding availability to space and resources. So self-service gives you that dynamic real-time ability to check things. It also gives you the ability to do stuff yourself. And I think people like to do that, particularly if you look at the younger generations. They don't want things organized by the PA or the secretary or the help desk or the facilities team. I want to book something, I want to do it myself. I want to be in control of that journey. And I think it's a good thing, because that way you're reducing the administrative burden on an organization. And if you design the user interface for self-service really well, I think UI design is the key here. You're actually encouraging people to do that because they find it a great experience, they're comfortable with it, and it actually is right for them because they're getting up-to-date information. They can do things in real time at a time that suits them. And I think that's the big thing. And you're seeing that shift now. But it's no different to the baby boomer generation checking in at an airport for a flight and printing out their ticket. They do that today, and that's now, I think, growing, and an increasing number of people are really comfortable with that.
Yeah, I think you're right, and we do become more comfortable. But I think it's very important that nobody ever feels foolish if they can't get to grips with technology. And I think that's a great opportunity for the younger and the older generations to learn from each other and turn that, what could be a negative, into a positive.
Absolutely. But I also think there is a role there when organizations are designing self-service to recognize that it's not only a generational thing. Self-service can sometimes need a little bit of the human touch.
My point.
And you see that in the hospitality market today. You've got, hotel groups today allowing their guests to check in online, to check in on the kiosk at reception. But they've always got a fallback approach there. So there is a concierge desk of some sort. So if you're having a problem, it doesn't have to be an embarrassment. You can go and get some help, and they can maybe assist you to do the same thing in a much less public way, if that's your preference. I think it's not only about generations, I think it's also about people's preferences. So if you looked at the issue of the flexible workplace and the use of hot desks, you get some very interesting statistics here, sorry to deviate a little bit, that a lot of people may not feel that comfortable in working in a completely open plan environment because of the way they are. There are different sorts of individuals out there. So I think we need to think about design, we need to think about the interworking between the generations, and we need to think about the support when the technology is not quite right or not doing what it should do, as we all experience in our lives every day.